few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of visiting Positive Youth Foundation in my constituency. I had the best time, as videos on my social media show. It's a fantastic organisation, providing young people in Coventry with a huge range of activities and opportunities. Visiting the centre, I saw the bonds that had been formed between the staff, volunteers and young people, and the confidence and support that gave them. So I want to begin by paying tribute to everyone at Positive Youth Foundation, from its founder and CEO, Rashid Bayat, to all the staff and volunteers. But as staff and volunteers made clear to me, it's an incredibly challenging time for young people, with more than half of safeguarding reports at the centre being about children and young people's emotional well-being and mental health. The pandemic and new stresses, strains and isolation it has brought has added to what was already a mental health crisis for children and young people. Before coronavirus hit, 1 in 5 young people aged between 16 and 24 had mental ill health. For school-age children, it was 1 in 6, and this has only got worse in the last 12 months. University students have been trapped in accommodation, away from friends and family, missing out on what should be some of the most exciting times of their lives. Almost 2/3 of people who have lost jobs in the pandemic are under 25. School children have been missing out on vital education, often stuck at home with overstretched parents in overcrowded homes. Things have got even worse for oppressed groups. Nearly 3 in 4 children with autism have a mental health condition, but in Coventry, even before the pandemic, waiting times for autism assessments have been growing. And working class, LGBT+, and children from Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities have all greater rates of mental ill health. But Mr. Chairman, what makes this not just a crisis but a scandal is the totally inadequate support for children and young people's mental health. More than a decade of austerity has cut away at the support once provided, while deepening the problems that gave rise to mental ill health. Since 2011, mental health trusts have faced a real terms cut of more than 8%. Huge cuts to school funding have put even greater pressure on budgets, forcing schools to have bigger classes while cutting mental health services. Nearly half of young people with moderate to severe mental health needs have to wait more than 18 weeks to start treatment. Mr. Chairman, this is a cruel failure of children and young people. Mental health support needs to get the funding it deserves across the board, from NHS services to school counsellors, guaranteeing that every single young person who needs support can get it when they need it. But Mr. Chairman, while funding for support is vital, the mental health crisis can't be tackled through just that alone. It's getting worse, and more young people are facing mental ill health. Depression is estimated to have tripled for those aged between 16 and 39. So we can't just look at the consequences, we have to look at the causes too. Because, for example, asthma is a health condition, but it's not totally random who suffers from asthma. If you live in an area of high air pollution, you're more likely to suffer from it. It's an individual problem, but it has social and political causes. The same is true for many mental health issues. The more stress, anxiety, and trauma in people's lives, the more likely they are to experience mental ill health. And Mr. Chairman, for children and young people who have grown under austerity, life is getting more stressful and less secure. That is what's driving this mental health crisis. And so while funding is vital, so is building a society that nurtures people, that gives them security and safety, that truly values and cherishes them. A report presented to the United Nations in 2019 argued that the best way to tackle the global mental health crisis is to build a supportive environment, everything from building good homes to secure and well-paid work. So if we are to solve the mental health crisis facing children and young people, this is what we must do. We must build a society where basic needs are met, where young people find decent, secure employment, where housing is both affordable and livable, where education is understood to be a right and a good in itself, and where people aren't having to work every hour of the day, but instead have time to live their lives to the fullest. Thank you.
Thank you.